There is nothing wrong with your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the Media Mothership.
All right, hi, and you're listening now to Media Mothership here on Edge Radio 99.3 FM. As always, this is your host, Dr. Craig, and we explore everything in and around the world of media and popular culture. You can listen to us live via your FM system on 99.3 FM or on demand at edgeradio.org.au. And we also are streaming via YouTube and Twitch. You can find us by just searching Media Mothership. If you want to reach out and touch us in a literate way, a text-based way, you can SMS us on 048888 11707. And monkeys will be listening and watching that SMS feed to take your comments. You can also leave a chat message on YouTube or Twitch. Well, with that out of the way, it's a real pleasure to say that on today's show, we have special guests in to discuss their fantastic indie film project. We've got Eilidh. Eilidh, it's a pleasure to have you in. What's your role in this film project on, it's Just Humans, right, that we're talking about?
Yes, it's called Just Humans, and I'm the writer and director of this movie.
So Eilidh, the writer and director, and then we have Daniel. Daniel, what's your role, responsibility, your crimes that you committed?
I was the assistant director, well as the production manager.
Right, production manager.
Yes.
So that would involve like scheduling.
Yes,
Google
and
Calendar?
sort of making sure data is kept properly and running around sets and like moving people around and organisation, creative intuition.
Perfect. So we've got the director-writer Eilidh, the production manager Daniel. And now joined the third member of this triptych, this musketeerage. What else comes in threes?
Trio.
Trios?
Tripod.
Tripod? Yes, this tripod of people. Edward, what was your role on Just Humans?
Hello, I am the cinematographer and the technical supervisor. Please be kind. The images are the best I could produce.
Well, fortunately, this is radio. So what we're going to play.
Beautiful.
Thank you. What we're going to play for you now is the trailer, the 39-second trailer, to get people in the mood. Do you reckon? I mean, I could ask you to explain to people what we're watching while we're listening to it.
Yeah. Well, you're going to hear a brief conversation between the main character and his mum.
Right. All right. So this is a brief conversation between the main character, whose name
is Andy.
And his mum. And this is the trailer for Just Humans, which is it hasn't had its premiere yet, right? The premiere is coming up, so we'll talk about the premiere.
The 19th, yes.
19th of this month, August. And if you keep listening, we'll give details of where you can watch it. But at the moment, yes, so Just Humans movie trailer. This has been freshly minted, right? This only came out a month ago?
Yeah, a month ago.
About a month, yeah. Actually, it might be over a month now, probably more like a month and a half.
Excellent. All right, so let's pump up those views with the Just Humans movie trailer.
So how was your last day?
I'm just so glad I never have to talk to any of those people ever again.
It wasn't that bad.
It's been pretty bad.
Good luck at uni with that attitude.
I will have a good time. You know, people go there because they actually want to learn and they want to have a fun time while they're doing it. I'm going to get a new group of friends and, you know, get fit and try new things. This is going to be my hot girl summer.
Great music.
Thank you. Can I go on a tangent really quickly and tell you a story
away.
about the music?
Eilidh, yes, please.
It's really wholesome. So that song that plays during the trailer is called Shadows by our sound editor and co-musician Simon Kelly. And the reason it came into being was there's a scene during Just Humans where some characters have a yard party, and one of the main characters is singing a bunch of songs, presumably of her own composition. And I didn't write anything for this scene, and it got to the day before filming, and I realised, I've got to make some music for Emma, the actress, to sing. So I got out my ukulele and I wrote a bunch of different 10-second song snippets, which were all trash, like they were not meant to be good. I sent those videos off to Emma and said, can you just sing these tomorrow in the film, and I'll play along on my ukulele. And that's all that it was ever going to be. And one of those song snippets was just this one line that goes, I stare into the shadows. What are they saying to me? And Simon later on, I think post-filming, suggested it'd be really funny if he turned that into a full-length, properly produced song, and then we played that somewhere else in the movie over like a scene of characters at the pub or something to imply that in the world of the movie this song really exists, and Emma, or Angel rather is the name of her character, during the yard party scene is doing a cover of that song. So the man took this 10-second video of me playing my ukulele and he turned it into a full song, and it sounded so cool, and we played it over the trailer.
Excellent. Are you going to transmediatize this and have a CD?
We're thinking one day we'd love to have a vinyl album.
Because we are a radio station that plays music.
Indeed.
So this is a rare moment that I actually played music on my show.
Hang on, Craig.
Edward, yes?
Are you saying that you can play music
It's weird.
on the radio?
Because I don't on this show.
Well,
but
I know,
allegedly, yes, other shows do it. It's not going to go popular, I think. I think the future of radio really is just talking a lot consistently. But this music thing might turn from a fad into a mainstream phenomenon.
It might.
Potentially.
I think, didn't Elvis Presley, wasn't he a musician?
Who's that?
As opposed to the actor.
Are you thinking of Elvis Costello?
Oh, no, yeah, that's right. No, I thought I was thinking of the inventor of music. Sorry.
Well, politics already. SMS in now, 04881177. Yeah, great. No, it's interesting, isn't it? As you bring creatives together on a project, and this is just like an indie project that drew together a lot of like-minded creative souls, and the generosity that came through from that, right? I mean, the story of the music.
Half our cast just acted for free. Like, I tried to pay them and they said no thank you.
Oh, yeah, full disclosure. So I'm in this.
Yeah, Dr. Craig is in the movie.
So, all of my audience, I encourage you to enjoy this film.
Come see the movie. Come see Dr. Craig.
So I was I had a talking role. Sorry, it's as if I've not realised this until
and you did a great job.
You absolutely
we
did a great
laugh
job.
every time we watch your scene.
Would you like to interview me then about my role? Because I think that
great idea.
My ego knows no bounds.
So, Craig, when you first received your scene, what did you think of your character?
It's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. I've waited for this question for a long time. Well, this is also going to be my awards acceptance speech.
Oh, yeah.
So it will sound a little rehearsed. But of course, yes, I have to thank, watching the behind-the-scene commentary to various movies, like the Exorcist film, which for some reason I absolutely...
Have a fixation on it,
Yeah, but let's not use this as therapy about me. So yeah, no, it did bring a lot of people in who had great creative bents, and the music sounds like a real part of that. It can be difficult to get music for a indie project. I know you guys have done a number of pieces of work. So I guess if we look a little at this music tangent while we're here, so the music for Just Humans we heard in the trailer.
Yes.
And generally, Daniel, we had a drink last night. You were explaining to me how music works when you're wanting to set up an indie film or film in general is like you can buy it.
Yeah, so if you're interacting with a musician and you just want to commission a whole bunch of music for the film, you can do that, obviously, and then at least in that circumstance, you as the commissioner would own the music.
So you commissioned it, you've given them almost like a seller? No, sorry, kind of you paid $100.
Commissioned for you, so you can have it, essentially.
Yep.
And just depending on what your agreement is with them, there's royalties and usages that they can get out of it too, and it's a two-way street. But if you're wanting to get something that they've already produced themselves, that's getting the rights to use it.
Yeah, rights to licensing, right? So that would be like if you wanted to do David Bowie's Life on Mars.
And you wanted to pay
That would
$2
be-
million.
yeah,
$2 million, so you get a limited budget.
If you're dealing with musicians that are established musicians with a big record label behind them, you're looking at minimum $250,000.
$250,000
For like one
$250,000.
song.
For
Well,
one
and that's
song.
pocket
Yeah.
change.
And-
That's like
Yeah.
And we know this because we have looked into it.
Yeah.
It's
what was the? Can I ask you some detail? What was the song you wanted to get? And you
don't
hit that
remember which song
money?
it was.
I don't think it was a specific song. I thought it was just.
Right.
I thought it was just.
We were sort of playing around with it,
Yeah.
and we were just curious. And I don't remember what song we used as an example, but it was something like $250,000.
$250,000. And again, you know, my mind boggles when I start trying to translate the money that films cost into, you know, like this weekend, for instance, in Kingston. This is a bit of a plug, but it's a community-related plug, so we'll get away with it. They've got the Model Train Expo.
Yes, they
right.
do.
And that's a hobby, and involves money, and it can get expensive, but that pales into comparison with the
Trying to set up a film,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the amount of money to get equipment. I mean, that's already looking at $6,000 up. I mean,
For your basic essentials.
for your basic essentials, because you've also got to remember you've got to edit this on a computer.
Yes.
So there's costs associated with that as well.
Like a lot of hidden costs.
Yeah, a lot,
right?
a lot
You-
of hidden costs.
You got your Adobe or whatever, but you might be using that for other things. But yeah, that's not cheap.
No.
Or Final Cut or
And look, we've got some fantastic phones with great cameras on them now, and you've got some great little microphones, and you can probably use your phone and grab a few cheap microphones, cheap lapels, you know, a few $100, make a really great movie. But the issue there is that the limitations are so strict that there is basically no what's the word I'm looking
Flexibility?
for? No flexibility
Yeah,
with
there you
what
go.
you're able to do with it. So you're able to produce really high quality movies with that equipment.
yes.
But it's all going to be dialogue, someone talking
Yes.
opposite someone else talking.
You got to still work within the
Yeah.
restrictions of that platform. If it's a mobile phone, it has some advantages, gives you that kind of guerrilla. Did you guys do any mobile phone work
We
in this?
did.
No, we did not. Oh, sorry, guerrilla shooting? No guerrilla shooting.
Oh, no. I meant we had phone footage.
Yeah,
Phone
phone
footage.
footage.
Oh, yeah,
No,
phone
we had
footage.
phone footage.
What is guerrilla footage? Guerrilla footage is when you're sneaking around and filming?
I wouldn't
Is that
know what
guerrilla?
you're talking about, Craig.
Yeah. You guys are all above board. We're not going to at all search anything. But yeah, so
So in terms
Mobile
of
phone.
in terms of
Did you
phone
do any
footage,
mobile
yes,
phones? Yes.
there is
Yes.
a number of scenes in the film that were shot through a mobile phone.
You're kind of Nokia.
I wish.
Oh, that would have been really
That would have
funny.
been lit.
Can I give some context into why?
Yes.
So the structure of Just Humans is it's like a collection of standalone scenes from life in Tasmania, kind of loosely tied together by a plot, and the plot is just about this guy who goes to uni, and it's about his experiences in uni. And so most of the scenes are about him interacting with specific people who sort of recur throughout the movie. But I thought when I was writing the screenplay that it could be fun to include some scenes which I called intermissions, and they were meant to represent like almost documentary style captured live moments of the
Right.
same characters' exploits in Hobart. And I thought, and I scripted them so that they're not actually documentary, but they were meant to look like, oh, here's a break from the plot, and here's just a scene that might have happened at some point of this guy bumping into one of his mum's friends in the Cat and Fiddle or something.
Yes.
And I was like, if we shot those on a phone, and had like slightly lesser video or audio quality and made it look like we'd kind of scrounged up all this like random ghetto footage off the internet and put that into our movie, I just thought that might be fun.
And has it translated to
Oh yeah, the intermissions
yes,
are like
they
some
are.
of the best parts of
They are
the
quite good.
movie.
So you were saying, okay, so Just Humans, the description I've got is that it's a slice-of-life comedy film about a young man's first year of university made by independent Tasmanian film company Big Love Productions. Written and directed by Eilidh Direen.
Yep.
Just Humans features local actors, locally produced music, and some of Tasmania's most iconic sights, sounds, and smells. So the first question is, Big Love Productions, they're big players.
Oh,
They're
yes.
huge. How did you get those guys involved?
Well,
Well,
she
I'm
just knew
best
us.
friends with one of them, and I called up a favour.
Big Love Productions. Why is it called Big Love Productions? Because it's you guys,
Yes.
right? It's Daniel,
Yeah.
Edward.
yeah.
And well, it's you guys, but in the spirit, it's me too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Eilidh.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't tell you exactly why without spoiling one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Oh, really? Big Love Productions has the name has a
Yeah,
spoiler?
you'll,
Yeah.
you'll
Oh,
understand
that's
after
great.
you watch the movie.
Wow, that's fantastic.
The-
So Big Love Productions came together for this film specifically?
Retroactively, it was together for our previous work, I guess, but it was only named in the last couple months.
Yeah.
Right. Why did you come to the decision that you needed to name up a production entity like this?
For future endeavours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We won't spoil that. Will we spoil that? We won't spoil that. We're not spoiling.
I don't think we've
I
got.
don't think we've
There'll
got
be
the
more
time.
cool movies.
There'll
in
be
the
more,
future.
and there'll be more interviews
Yeah.
to talk about them
Yeah.
in the future.
We don't want to be here talking about Just Humans and then spend about
Fair enough.
most of your show talking about Daniel and I's stuff.
Big Love Productions. All right, so yes, as I was saying, so the film's a slice of life. So it's for you, Eilidh. How did you come up with the idea for this script for Just Humans, first year uni student story? And what's some of the themes and messages you're trying to get through from it?
Well, I had been away from Tasmania for a couple of years doing some volunteer work, and I came back in 2021, and I thought I'd have a house party to get all my friends together and celebrate being back. And for a number of reasons, I felt quite an awkward house party.
Oh.
And I was calling my friend Anna Therese. I'm naming her because she's a musician and she's very cool.
Do we play her music here?
We should.
Yeah.
We should. That's for another
We'll
time.
get in touch.
But I was calling Anna to debrief, and I was dissecting this whole party, and one of Anna's hobbies is just social dynamics and psychology and stuff like that. And she just had a good chuckle, and she said, "Someone should make an indie film about awkward Tasmanian social interactions." And I said, "Oh, you might be onto something there."
Yes.
And I sat with that for a day or two, and suddenly I had all these flashbacks to my uni years and things that really happened to me and to Daniel and to Teddy, and
So
we
real
tell each other these
Wow.
stories. They became myths almost again and again and again, and they just all came flooding back to me. And I thought you could really make a movie out of this. So I just wrote them all down, and then I turned that into a screenplay. And I suppose the themes in it, well, the main theme is it's basically about a journey that I think a lot of us go on, which is when, as you're growing into an adult and you're going out into the world and interacting with lots and lots of different people, many of whom are eccentric or, in your perspective at least, eccentric or obnoxious or different or whatever, there's an initial discomfort with other people and even like contempt towards other people, or like you feel tempted to look down on other people. But then eventually, hopefully, as you mature, you get to this point where you realize that humans are just human. And that is a
Nice.
quote from the 1996 cult hit classic anime Gazi's Wing, which we're
Right.
big fans of.
Gazi's
Yes.
Wing.
Yeah.
I missed. Is that so? It's an animated.
It's a 3-episode OVA from '96.
It's an anime.
Yeah, you should watch
Gaz-
it.
Yeah. I feel like
You must have watched
so
the
uneducated.
dub though, Craig, because that's the reason.
Oh
it's
yeah,
called
yeah. Watch the dub. It's so
humans, after all, are just humans.
Yes.
Who says that? Is that a human that says that?
Yes.
Yes,
It's a
there is a
philosopher
human.
who shouts all his dialogue very loudly.
Yes, you
Wow.
have to watch the dub.
Yes.
All right, and it's called Ghazi's?
Ghazi's
Yeah.
wing.
Wing. Ghazi. Who's Ghazi?
Who knows?
No one ever
knows?
finds out who Ghazi is.
What a great source of inspiration.
It was actually directed, Craig, by Yoshiyuki Tomino.
What else is
He was the
done?
creator of Gundam.
No way.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And it was meant to be like a 26 episode series, but for one reason or another, it got condensed into 3 episodes.
Wow.
So it is manic.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And that's the inspiration of Just Humans.
Kind of. Like, I
Or
took
it's
that
a-
line from
it's-
Just Humans and
it's
I
a
made
line.
that the moral
Yeah.
of the story.
Well, I think you should take it to Japan. I mean,
I would
think
love
it's
nothing more.
Such a clear link here.
Yeah.
Think about one of the Tokyo Film Festival. There's a Japanese film festival happening now,
Oh, really?
right?
Oh.
In Hobart. Yeah,
Fascinating.
on demand. Yeah, we could get this in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Japanese film,
Tangent.
basically.
Excellent.
Well, see, sorry, I am completely going off on a
No,
tangent.
that's pretty much everything I was going to say.
Now, first year uni students, I knew the both of you as a lecturer. Again, another fuller disclosure now. Lecturer you in first year.
You sure did.
I do remember one of the stunts. I'm going to call it a stunt.
Oh.
You weren't prepared for this, were you? Stunts that I heard that you confessed to me that you pulled was you created a Pokemon game based on the lecturers.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Of course. Yes.
Which features in the movie, although you
does.
You wouldn't really
It's
know.
just
that
an
it was
Easter
there.
egg.
Yeah. I think we made that in third year uni,
It
but
was,
we
yeah, about third year,
we
yeah.
created this game called Watashi no Sensei, which sort of more or less is Google Translate Japanese for my teacher, and it was like a trading card game based on real or fictional figures that we found inspiring and ironically referred to as senseis. Some of these senseis include the Fat Controller from Thomas the Tank
wow.
Engine,
Yeah.
Pingu's dad,
Deep
the
Cuts,
Wiggles.
Pingu's dad, the Wiggles.
Yeah, and then we made like an extension specifically
like
around
a DLC, like a
yeah,
extension kind of,
specifically
right.
around UTAS lecturers and tutors, and you were a card in it.
Totally. Yeah, I hope I was one of those ones which, who was it, Paul Logan or someone would have to spend millions of dollars to get.
Oh yeah,
Now,
you
who
were
was
an
it that got
ultimate
the-
ranked sensei. You had the highest SP.
Yes. What is it?
SP stands for sensei points.
I mean, so talented here. That really should get made. Right, and
I
Kickstarter.
agree.
I'm going to announce it right here on air. We're setting up a Kickstarter.
I'd actually unironically love to.
I would too. That'd be so
There's
lovely.
going to be a lot of legal issues there. We've
Not
got,
if we make parody versions.
Oh yeah,
fair,
look,
fair.
I mean, yeah, we'll get consent. No approval.
But one day when we're like bajillionaires and can afford to make our own equivalent of like the Lego movie, Watashi no Sensei will be our Lego movie.
I reckon that's going to be something like, what is it? The Jerry Seinfeld in every episode will have a Superman statue somewhere in shots during an episode. Yeah, are you starting to establish like an Easter egg that you're feeling needs to be in material you're creating, like something that's a good luck charm?
Sort of, but not in things we've already done.
Is it socks that you're wearing when you're doing a shoot, or
No.
any good luck?
No, see, I think I personally am fairly tired of having everything part of the same universe and this is connected to that and that's connected to this and this theory puts this person in with this universe and you know how in 1990
Yes.
this character was here and
I
they were
agree,
cast in that
actually.
movie over there in 2000. You know, even just saying it's hectic. And I think that for me personally, each piece is its own piece and it deserves its own spot.
But you're not going to stop the fanboys.
No.
No.
They
Reading
can
into
have
your
theirs.
text.
And
Yeah.
granted, we have discussed possibilities of people who were in Just Humans cameoing in future
Yeah,
projects
yeah.
as similar, if not the same person.
Are there any returning people between projects so far? I mean, Just Humans is the first piece that's out there
Yes.
that you guys have worked with,
But not
right?
the first piece chronologically.
No.
I think a good way of saying this is we try to make friends wherever we go.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that means that we go, I really want to work with this person again. I really want to work with that person again. So we end up creating this huge list of people that we just want to get back in to work with. And then on our next project, we're inevitably going to meet up with more people that we go, oh, we have to work with that person again. So, there's that.
Well, hopefully you've been feeling this very location we're doing our radio show in right now has a bit of media magic to it. This has been the filming location for one of ABC TV's most highest-rated comedies.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, I forget the name of it.
Highest rated.
No, it's the one set,
Not most
Hastings.
memorable, highest rated.
Sorry.
The one set down in Hastings.
Is that Rosehaven?
Rosehaven?
Yep.
Yeah, Rosehaven.
That was a comedy.
Rosehaven, season 1, I think, had a community radio station feature in like 2 or so episodes. They filmed it here at Edge Radio Community Station, where we're sitting right now. So you guys should also do that.
How do they get the cameras in?
It's a really interesting question. Have a look at some shots. I'm planning on seeing if I can get the rights to it, which I won't be able. But anyway, I'll it's interesting because they actually shot it like at eye level for about where
Intriguing in a room this size.
Yeah,
really difficult, I'd imagine.
Yes.
But they did it. You have a look at that Rosehaven. I think it's season 1, episode 5. Features a number of shots in here.
Wow.
Where they blacked out some of this, and then they squeezed in a camera, I think behind where you are, Daniel. So they had like it's amazing.
Right.
Well,
Insane.
I think to get professional-looking shots in a room this small, I mean, that's pretty good.
Well, have a look at my YouTube channel for my professional shots right now live with my fisheye GoPro. Because you can't get any better than that. It looks like a security camera.
It does. I like the aesthetic.
I think another thing to point out, sorry to interject, but we're all fairly new at this. We all just sort of went and tried out something, with me being the exception.
Yeah.
I've been making movies for a very long time, but the first 6 to 7 years of that was me not really doing it seriously and not really understanding the theory behind why things were done a certain way or how to get the best out of the equipment I had. So it's only been in the last 2 or 3 years that I've actually understood how to get those shots and how to make something look pretty on screen.
So, Edward, can I ask you then? This does lead into a question I'd written down. How did you approach the cinematography and visual styles for Just Human? What were some of the influences you had? Inspirations, maybe.
I'm going to be honest, Craig.
You're amongst friends.
And the
listeners are all friends.
Millions of
double
viewers.
digits of listeners.
Digits.
Millions of viewers, I'm sure. Sorry, Craig. So, as of making Just Humans, I was still practicing. So I didn't really have too much inspiration for shots. I was just trying to get my head around the whole thing. And there are some shots in the movie that are a bit questionable.
In terms of
composition and where I shot them from and lighting and blocking and all sorts of stuff like that. However, towards the end or towards the middle...
more towards the middle.
Yeah, somewhere along the way, it all started clicking for me.
Great.
So in this movie, there are going to be some questionable shots. However, the vast majority of them I'm proud of, and there are some shots in there that I still look at and go, wow, how did I do that? Because I did not expect to produce anything nearly as good as what we've produced.
Oh, that's great. It's great to come out that other side.
Oh, it's fantastic.
The step up cinematography-wise between our last project and this one is quite gracefully massive, I would say.
The last project being...
Bit of Despondency.
Despondency.
Which
yes.
you were also in.
I am pretty famous.
Yeah.
If you hadn't realised.
Craig, isn't it?
Yes. Dr. Craig.
Dr. Craig, sorry, yes.
Let's get the branding.
Yeah.
That's right, despondency, yeah. And we'll get around to that.
Yes.
Because I do want to touch on that at the end. But a question then maybe for you all is, how did you find collaborating together, communicating with each other and the rest of the crew each day? Because it's spread over a couple of weekends, or...
So was it 9 days?
Yeah, 4.5 weekends.
4.5 weekends, yeah.
How did you find the collaboration, communicating between each other, setting it up? I mean, a lot of that would be fully on your shoulders as managing.
That's mostly my job. So I sort of would describe my role in this particular arrangement and in this project as a conduit of information. So I will translate whatever creative energy comes out of here, and
by here,
you mean
by you,
the divine?
From
sorry,
you.
because the listeners.
Eilidh?
Oh, of course, from you. Yes, of course.
This is radio.
Oh, it is radio, but we're streaming.
Only
It's
some...
multimedia.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I would take the creative energy that would be swirling from Eilidh's brain, translate it into something that he can understand.
The
And-
cinematographer.
He being me.
Yes, and instruct him instruct him so that he knows what he's doing.
In a polite way that wouldn't tone down all the swearing that Eilidh's done. You would never do that. I know, I'm sorry.
Well, I think a simplified version of that is Eilidh will come up with the information, Daniel will interpret it, and then
Yes.
I will execute it.
Is there an example of that?
Well, there were many times when, because I don't have a very visual imagination, so I would have the idea of the vibe of the scene we were putting together. I'm trying to think of a good example of a scene.
The barrel?
Yeah, sure. So, there's a scene where we're having a barrel at the uni, and the only thing that mattered to me were that people are in it. It's a bit awkward, and the main character is having a conversation with one person, and that was all I had to go on. And so I'd say to Daniel, "Oh, we're doing this shot of the barrel scene. It's probably got to be like a mid to wide shot because it's got to fit a lot of people in it. I'm thinking we do it in this corner of the school that we're shooting at. That's all I've got." And then Daniel would visualize an actual shot in his head. Like he'd go, "Okay, this specific part of the building would look good. Let's put the people here, here, and here." And then he would say that to Teddy. Teddy would put the camera in roughly the right spot. Daniel would put the people in the right place. And then Teddy would go, "All right, can can Soren take a step to the left, or can Brandon come forward, or whatever," until it looked good.
Because there is a bit of a myth, I think, about the director being the be-all and end-all. The director is micromanaging everything.
You have to have made so many movies to get to that point.
So instead, surrounding yourself by talented people that each can do their job well, or well enough, means, the director doesn't need to basically have and do the whole film in their head down to the minutiae. You can just say, just broadly, I'd like this shot to have this, and then Daniel knows what he's doing and tells it to Edward, who knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
And so did you think that were you surprised at the end of the day seeing how the shots were coming together?
There were lots of really delightful surprises. Like some of Teddy's shots were really beautiful. I was probably initially dismayed by I guess how little actually fits into the eye of a camera, if that makes sense. Like how little you can actually squeeze into a shot unless you're shooting from 100 meters away and using a powerful lens. And so there were times when I'd say to Teddy, "Oh, can we get a shot with this much stuff in it?" And he'd say, "No, we can't do that." And I'd be like, "But why? If my eyes can see it, why can't the camera see it?" But aside from some learning curves like that, I was really, really happy, and a lot of the time pleasantly surprised by what happened on the screen.
Do you agree with that, Edward?
Look, I've grown up around cameras, so I view the world as a camera.
A walking camera.
So, I'll actually be walking around the street and going, "Oh, getting a shot with my camera that's not here from that street corner pointed that way would look good."
because this location would be tricky to film in, right? A small,
Yes.
cramped
Yes.
studio. What it does give, I guess, is that authenticity of being a small, cramped community
Yes.
station. But yeah, the difficulty would be translating what, as you're saying, Eilidh, like in my eyes, I see it all. But in terms of bringing in a quality studio level camera or anything, trying to capture that in a way that then works on screen is, and
Because don't forget, you'd have to put a bunch of lights in here, or use 2 or 3 lights really.
because the
well.
lighting's coming down,
Yeah.
which means we're all getting shadows.
Yeah, and then you'd have to have some sort of fill light. Yes, I know some technical words.
I remember those from first year film study.
Oh, okay. Because my hidden plan here is to get Edward to tell me how I can make my movie in here.
Nice.
Okay, let's do it.
Hell yeah. Well, actually, no, just on that, because I do want to talk about that idea of how you have to compromise creative vision to fit within all of the pressures that you have in terms of budget and trying to find a location that's going to work. I mean, what was that struggle like as you were trying to get that creative vision to work within all the constraints of money and location time?
There's compromises during filming and then compromises in post-production as well. In filming, for example, because so many of the scenes in Just Humans were based on real events, or they were based on like really strong ideas I had about what an interaction might look like, I would have my dream performance in my mind, and but the actors that I was choosing were just people that I know, like friends and family and friends of family, and family of friends, and I had to cast people sometimes according to vibe and sometimes just according to who is physically available on this day.
Yeah.
And all the acting was amazing. Like, that's a whole nother tangent we can go on.
Yeah,
Normal
definitely.
people, not trained actors, are really excellent at acting, depending on what you ask them to do. However, there would be times when I would just be trying to say to so-and-so, can you do this and can you make it sound like this? And they just would perform it in their own interpretation, and it was different. And I was like, all right, well, that's what it looks like now.
Because you hear these stories of like George Lucas directing the Stanley Kubrick maybe, where George Lucas will just like give no direction.
No,
And kind of being very kind of like, well, he just says these words.
It rhymes just like prose.
That's right. Oh, right. Whereas Stanley Kubrick, you hear all those stories like they'll get up to like take 100 or 200.
127 takes is the record. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah, and
I was dying after 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were some of the takes like? I mean, 7 or 8 was pretty much as you
I
felt
think
comfortable.
the longest was about 8, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of actually fits in with the theme of compromise on set. So, like, one compromise is what are the actors actually going to be able to do for you? Another is environmental constraints. For example, we filmed 2 days at a primary school to do all our classroom scenes, and on the first day, they didn't tell us, or maybe, they did tell me, and I just didn't think that it would be an issue, but there was a dancing class going on in the gym next door, and so we had all this, sound, like all this noise from the room next door while we were trying to film our classroom scenes, and Simon, our sound recorder and editor, was a wizard and managed to get us some usable audio, but it was very stressful during filming because it sounded like crap.
The solution...
and sometimes there'd be wind or weather or whatever, yes.
The solution to a lot of that background noise, at one stage he actually went outside so that the wall of the building would block off the sound from the other room.
Pointed the shotgun mic through the open door or window or whatever it was.
So it would block out a lot of the sound coming from the other room.
Yeah.
Rather than being kind of in the room.
Yes.
And being able to hear things next door.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
But the 3 scenes that all had got up to 6 or 7 or 8 takes were all done in uncontrolled areas. So one was at a bus stop, and there was a lot of traffic at the bus stop, and cars were driving through our shot, and we had to keep starting again.
You were saying this last night. You were saying you chose a day and time and location you thought would be
Sunday morning in the Claremont I didn't think there'd be that many cars driving up that random street.
Yeah.
And guess what? Whilst we were setting up,
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
nothing. So it took about half an hour for us to set it up and decide what we were doing and where we were shooting from. And then the moment we call action,
Yeah.
or the moment Eilidh calls
Million
action,
cars.
Million cars.
and not
drove through.
and sustained traffic.
Sustained.
Yeah.
to the point where I ended up deciding to swap where we were filming from, and it was still
And
still a
it's
problem.
an issue. That was one. Another was in a cafe that is owned by some friends of mine, and we need to do some cafe scenes. But it was still, like, they didn't close the cafe for us, so there were still customers, there was noise, there were cleaners running around. That we were right across the hall from the bathroom, so people making noise as they went to go and use the bathroom. We got 7 or 8, and it was really complicated dialogue. And poor Dan and Mark did such a good job. They were our featured extras in that scene, and they've got this most bizarre dialogue to say, and they kept, it took them a couple of goes to get all the lines out. And that was
It's difficult
with
to keep it
interruption.
fresh, right?
Yeah.
It sounds rehearsed.
Yeah. And the
Exactly,
third,
yeah.
the
If
you're not
third,
careful, yeah.
and I mention all of these because they're all kind of funny, but the third one was a scene that we did outside at the school. So it was like Society's Day at the university, and we had all these trestle tables set up, and they had tablecloths. It was very windy. The tablecloths kept flapping around everywhere. We had to get our lighting person, Ella, and one of our actors, my cousin Maya, to lie on the ground and hold the tablecloths so that the corners wouldn't flap up and disrupt the shot. There was birds,
And they were just off camera?
yeah, you can't see anything. And now this scene that we recorded was a very short conversation. In the script it was 3, maybe 4 very brief lines of dialogue. It was, so you guys keep bees, yep. How much to join? $10. That was the conversation in the script. I won't spoil what actually happens, but the actors on the day decided to ad-lib an entire conversation. It was very funny, and they kept cracking themselves up. They would get 2 words out and start just giggling, and they were losing it. And we were like, guys, like, come on, you can do it. But it took them like 8 takes, I think, to get the lines out and keep a straight face.
But it was worth
But it was
Absolutely
worth it. It
worth
was
it.
the
Absolutely worth it.
funniest,
It is
funniest
potentially
scene.
one of the most iconic pieces of
it
film.
was so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that all comes together finally. Were there any, like you were saying with that road scene you needed to really, were there any shots you had to give up on, or were you able to salvage
I don't think
them
so.
all?
I actually don't think we did this
We
time.
got all of our
But
shots.
We were,
There was some we decided that we didn't need on the day.
yeah, but that you always have.
But yeah.
See, we went in with an attitude of if we have the choice between doing it the right way or the lazy way, we do it the right way.
Because you want that.
Yes.
You want to develop that skill as well. You want to push
Yeah.
yourself.
So if there was a shot that was not quite right, we'd spend a few minutes actually discussing what was wrong with it,
Yeah.
and usually it meant someone had to get some big spool to wheel across to stand on to get a piece of paper and move it down about 5 centimeters, and
Yep.
that whole taking 2 minutes just to move a piece of paper down a little bit, but it fixed the shot.
But thankfully, we were never ever pressed for time. We were very good schedule.
We were on a couple of occasions, but we did very well.
Not in ways that were hyper stressful though.
I think it was. I think it was one of the first days.
Yeah.
Very hot day.
Yeah, it was a hot day.
In a very poorly insulated room. Towards the end, a few beverages had been had, so so some of our hydration levels were down, and we were tired, and we were a bit upset. We just wanted to get it over and done with.
Some of us were having a great time.
I was upset, and I just wanted to go.
And what happened?
We finished it.
You pushed yourself.
He battled through his sadness.
Yeah.
and we are so grateful that he did.
Oh no,
Thank you.
no, that wasn't. No, don't, no. It's fine.
So to change tack slightly, if after watching this people are thinking what the media tourism schedule should be, what are some of the locations that you filmed in? What are some of the locations that are going to become tourist sensations after this? Like people are going to go, oh, that shot, I want to go there and check that out. What are some of the locations you filmed in?
Well, one of the nicest looking shots in the movie, and one that we've used for a lot of promo, which is the shot of the two main characters by the sea, basically with a little campfire, was done at this random beach in Dover that I don't know the name of.
The specific location of which I would like to remain secret.
Oh, yeah, sorry. This is our beach. Don't come to our special beach.
Don't come to this place. It is ours.
Sorry. And like, I can't even think of anything in that movie.
It's a good fishing spot. It's
just our special beach, Craig.
You're asking too many questions.
Oh, sorry, I already am. But see, now you've set it up as
You see, what I'm trying to
secret.
do is engage people to try and find the place themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Take photos and see if it matches up with the shot.
I know those Google Maps whizzes out there. I reckon they'll find it.
That's true. Yeah, there are those people that amazingly get it within a few kind of screenshots.
I don't think there are actually too many places really because there
We
are.
tried to keep them all on, like, not anonymous, but generic.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Do you reckon locals will recognise?
Maybe.
Yeah.
In some cases, yes,
Launceston,
definitely.
actually.
Yeah.
Right,
This
little
movie's going to
Launceston.
be like a full like tourist
Yeah.
like trailer for the city of Launceston.
Oh, that's
It
great.
definitely could be.
Because of
Yeah.
a 3-minute montage towards the very end of the movie, which is one of the prettiest things I've ever seen.
Nice.
If I do
Beautiful
say so
film.
Edward,
myself.
you
I
were
didn't shoot it.
out there doing Launceston
The
tourist. Yes, favour.
Yeah. Well, they should thank me.
Because once upon a time, Teddy and Edward and Daniel decided to film a short film in Launceston. And so they spent a day taking the bus out there, doing a bunch of shooting, taking the bus back home, and they made a short film. And I thought in my screenplay I would pay homage to that. So my two main characters decided to make a movie, and they decided to go to Launceston. They spend a day shooting in Launceston, and we made a montage of them doing that in Launceston.
It came difficult in the editing stage. What do you do with people in the background? And you were mentioning this last night that one of the headaches can be
That's
random
a great
strangers
example of compromise.
suddenly.
Yeah.
Post-production.
So you've just got to be really careful while you're doing it. And if
Because
they,
it's
yeah.
illegal, like you can't put someone if they've not given consent.
There's concerns, legal concerns.
So, my understanding is that it's technically not legal. Sorry, technically not illegal. However, if someone then goes up and says, "Please stop showing this," then you have to stop showing it, and you have to pull it from everything. Like you cannot
Re-edit.
Yeah.
Well, you could probably re-edit it, but
By the time that's become a thing, it's too.
That will take
Yeah.
time.
It takes time.
Right.
And-
Lose the
and-
momentum of releasing it. Yeah.
in that situation, for me, it's not so much a legal issue; it's more of a moral issue.
Yeah.
I sort of
Yeah, I agree.
I feel as though people have a right to kind of.
Not be randomly in
Yeah.
someone's movie.
Yeah.
Mind you, I have come up with a potential solution to that for future. You just have release forms handy,
Yeah.
and $50, and say, here, sign this release form. Here's $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a much better alternative
Yeah.
than having to be ultra careful all the time
Yeah.
and compromising on your vision.
Hypothetically, $50. I'll look into the legality of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a consent form could be quite clever.
Yeah.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. What are kind of the skills, because you were talking about this being a kind of learning curve. So now that it's completed and around the corner will be premiered, what are some of the skills you think you've come away with? How do you think you've developed to tackle future projects?
For me, probably like a lot of event management-y type skills, just in terms of, if a scene needed to be in a pub, then you had to book a venue and you had to talk to people, you had to get your actors there, you got to get your equipment there, you got to get your props there. Lots of organisational skills. But also I've never directed anything before and never directed people before, and that's I believe I did a good job.
Daniel? Edward?
For me, I think it was realizing that I'm actually pretty good at blocking scenes.
What is
out.
blocking?
So it's putting things in the scene to interact with each other at specific moments, and then visualizing how it's all going to move around.
Right.
Typically actors' movements.
Yeah, typically actors and props.
So you have an actor walking over to somewhere to pick something up.
Yeah.
And in your head, you've thought about how that
interacts with everything else in the scene.
It's very difficult to make that look natural on camera, it turns out.
And you can also, blocking refers to camera movements as well.
Camera movements, yeah.
I think a way to make it look natural is not to have people walk in off the wings of the shot.
Right.
Because then it looks like theatre.
It looks like someone's just walked in from stage right, gone, hello, I am here.
Yeah.
Suddenly appeared. That's what it is.
And I think that there's that, but it's also more it's more confidence in organising what's happening, because I had done it in the past as well as directed at the same time. And this was a good opportunity just to mostly focus on that on set management stuff, which was good.
Because if I just say to Daniel, can we please have a party scene, Daniel would have to tell people where to stand, what sort of hand gestures to be doing. If people were walking in and out of the shot, he'd tell them when and where to do that. I was just happy with people at a party.
So I have dates and times for where this is coming up next. So we'll talk about that and then future projects. So dates and times. So we've got Saturday 19th of August, Sunday 20th of August, and Monday 24th. So 3 nights back to back.
Yep.
The first 2 are at the Taroona Community
Hall. Yep.
And the last one is at the Don Bosco Creative Arts Centre at the Glenorchy GYC campus.
Yes,
GYC
so if you're
is
familiar with Guildford Young College, that's
yeah.
their performing arts centre off Mill Street in Glenorchy.
And I love the idea that the first 2, because I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to. I was talking this last
You're
night.
not coming to all 3?
Well, I'm going to try to collect more. Are they collecting things I can get?
There could be.
That should have been
Anyway, the first 2, right, is a bit more of a DIY job where you've got you've got your own screen that you're setting up, speakers.
Yeah.
More can go wrong, which makes me feel like that could be the more exciting one to be part of. Like stories will come out of that one.
Absolutely.
Everything will go right though.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we did film another project there, and it's sort of where I am, and it's kind of the central sort of Taroona is the central hub for our production company, if you could call it that.
And it'll be cosy.
Yeah.
It's a very it's in in keeping with the aesthetic of the film.
Yeah.
So cozier venue, Taroona, if anyone's looking for that. And the third night, then Glenorchy. What's the vibe there? That's a more splashy production,
Guildford
right?
Young
That's
has a really nice performing arts centre. It's got its own inbuilt AV system. There'll be technicians on hand to help us run the thing. It'll be nice.
It'll be the gala
fancy.
night.
It'll be like the gold class experience.
Yes.
gold class. So,
We will not be selling fancy food or champagne though.
but you will feel nicely taken care of, I guess, with the audio's visuals.
Yeah,
and
it'll
the
be
seats.
nice, comfy.
Where can people go to find out more about that?
Best place would be to go onto trybooking.com and just look up Just Humans.
So it's
screen.
TRI booking or TRY?
TRY.
TRY, so literally, try booking.
And
Try
look up
booking this.
Just Humans film
Try booking.
screening. You should come up with 3 separate events, one for each screening, because that's just what Try Booking made me do. You can also, we've got posters up around the place with QR codes that you can use to book tickets, or you can just remember these details and rock up on the day. And
Oh,
there
you're
will
selling
be,
tickets?
Yeah, there'll be door sales as well.
What
but we
time
wanted
is
to
it?
try
It's
and
7 p.m.
7 p.m. All
Yeah.
right, so rock up to the Taroona Community Hall Saturday 19th or Sunday 20th. It's just before 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Quarter
Yeah.
to,
Well,
isn't it?
movie might start closer to 7:15.
15. Or head over to the Creative Arts Centre at Glenorchy, GYC, what does that stand for?
Guildford Young College.
Guildford Young College.
Campus. Again, 7 p.m.
Yeah,
start.
and for the benefit of your listeners, Craig, maybe you could put some of these details up on
It
on
will
the
be
Insta.
available on show notes that you can get to via the podcast, YouTube, Twitch site, as well as my Facebook page, my
And
Instagram
Facebook
page,
Daniel's
my
Facebook
TikTok page,
Yeah.
all the pages.
Yeah.
So check that out now. Future projects, any teasers? I know you mentioned that other project, Despondency. You've got,
so
can I
yes.
put you on the spot to get a date
On
for
the
that?
spot, it is tentatively late September.
Late September, you heard it here first, people. Medium Multitude, Late September, Despondency, starring not me, but
Some
I am
other
in there in the
people.
background.
Yeah, so that one's a project that Daniel and I worked on. A very different flavour of project, and we made it when we were going through a very different stage in life. So our attitude towards filmmaking has evolved a lot since then. We're probably more open to ideas, and we're generally more relaxed around the filmmaking process.
But you're still hoping to get it finished and wrapped up for it and
yes.
editing it
Yeah,
out.
yes.
No.
Oh, yeah. And you know, it is a very, for me at least, a very cathartic story, and a very...
And it does say a lot,
yeah.
and it does have a lot of things in it that if you think about them more, you can go, oh, this is a very nice film.
Well, we'll have to get you back in
Yeah.
to debrief on that. Eilidh, Daniel, Edward, it's been wonderful having you on Media Mothership. Any final words of kind of like what advice?
Please come and watch our movie. It's really funny. It's got really beautiful music.
I would advise you do that because it's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some actual advice.
That sounds very serious. Yes, Edward.
Don't take the filmmaking process so seriously. Like have respect for it, and have respect for the people you're working with. But if you're so serious that you
Lose sight of enjoying what you're doing.
then you end up creating a bitter, twisted version of what you should have made.
Those shooting days were some of the funnest days ever, and they wouldn't have been if we'd been stressed and grumpy the whole time.
Very fun.
A wonderful way to end this interview. Thank you so much, Eilidh, Daniel, and Edward. Keep listening. It's Radio 99.3 FM. We'll have K-Pop Unlimited around the corner. This has been Media Mothership for another week.